the Amherst Township Trustees called to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Abraham?
Here.
Lynch?
Here.
Urick?
Yes.
And Kish is present. We have the township meeting minutes from November 10th, 2025. The meeting was called to order at 7:01 by Lynch. Pledge to the flag. Roll call: Abraham, Lynch, Urick, Kish present. Also in attendance: Case Marsh, G. Lynch, L. Ashley, M. Bach, R. Bach, and M. Orozco. 11:125, a motion by Urick, seconded by Abraham. To approve the regular meeting minutes of October 28th, 2025 as corrected, all ayes. 11:225, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick. Move to approve the financial reports and payment of items on the payment listing as presented, all ayes. The fiscal officer reported she is still waiting to hear from the state auditor's office regarding finishing our 2022-23 audit. Year-end payroll will need to be turned in by December 15th for our annual payroll recipients. Fiscal Officer Kish will be contacting the chairs of the Zoning Commission and the BZA because new this year is the chairs verifying timesheets for accuracy and signing off on them prior to the fiscal officer receiving, per the state auditor's request. The fiscal officer wants to make sure they have plenty of time to handle this. There were no audience concerns under correspondence. 7/126 is the compliance deadline for cybersecurity program under Ohio Revised Code 9.64, House Bill 96. Trustee Lynch felt we were pretty good with our current policy and may need to make minor adjustments. The 2025 end of the year and 2026 organizational meeting, our last meeting of the year, is currently scheduled for Tuesday, December 23rd, and we will hold the 2025 end of the year on that date and check with the prosecutor's office on holding the 2026 organizational meeting at the same meeting. Our newly elected trustee, Jeremy Watkins, is available to attend that meeting. 11/825, email correspondence regarding crosswalk and stop bar painting in Sandstone subdivision presented and discussed. Roseanne Denega from the engineer's office provided the final punch list for the Sandstone Four Seasons subdivision number 2 and Sandstone Mill subdivision number 2 and 3, which included the requirement of painting stop bars and crosswalks at all intersections. A letter will be sent to the Lorain County engineer and Sandstone developer, John Evanson, indicating crosswalk and stop bar painting is not requested in the Sandstone Mill subdivision phase 2 and Four Seasons at Sandstone subdivision phases 2 and 3. Painting of these features is expected at Sandstone Parkway. This is consistent with all other subdivisions within Amherst Township. Under reports, the Sandstone Joint Ambulance District meeting is still not scheduled but should be held in November. Under zoning Inspector Valentin provided a report for November with only 2 permits for a fence and a patio. Zoning Commission will meet for 2 lot splits on December 2nd, 2025. Roads, Parks, and Cemeteries, Road Superintendent Case Marsh, everything is running smooth. First round of salt put down today. Maintenance, leaves, storm sewer repair. 3 signs have been hit and replaced or repaired. Left a message with Gled Hill regarding the status of the new plow truck. 11/325, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick. Move to request pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.3 that the county auditor certify to Amherst Township the total current tax valuation of Amherst Township and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by 1 mill renewal levy for the purpose of the general construction, reconstruction, resurfacing, and repair of streets, roads, and bridges under 5705.19G. All ayes. Senior Services Township Administrator reported lease payment for Amherst Athletic Association has been paid, so we now have all contracts and payments in. Still anticipating payment from Stormwater Mini Grant for catch basin repair at Moss Canyon and Cobblestone intersection. Contacted the Amherst Fire Department regarding the Oberlin Road quarry fire of October 5th, 2025, but have not gotten any information back from them, so we probably will not be able to recoup any of those dollars. The bus garage incident with alarms and such going off at 4:30 a.m. last week, and we have had complaints from it, and it was a special circumstance of an out-of-state delivery of materials. Relayed that the Amherst Township noise ordinance prohibits this type of noise generating activity prior to 7 a.m. Under complaints, they're being handled by the designated individual. Unfinished business, Trustee Urick noted solid waste will meet next Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. A second quote for grinding was received, and it was more than the first quote. 11/425, motion by Urick, seconded by Lynch. The motion was made to accept the quote for Rathlin Solis for grinding and recycling of yard waste for $10,000. All ayes. Under new business, the next regularly scheduled meeting will be Monday, November 25th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Amherst Township Hall. The 2025 and 2020 2025 end-of-year meetings is scheduled for December 23rd, and the 2026 organizational meeting is as well subject to the Lorraine County Prosecutor approval. 11/5/25, a motion by Urick, seconded by Abraham, moved to adjourn at 7:56 PM. All ayes.
Okay,
I
Chris, thanks
noticed
for
one
reading so
correction.
quickly.
Well, I would like to waive these as we move forward, but we're the only township that reads them back. I need to add Ryan,
For attendance.
yes.
Okay, are there any other changes or corrections to the November 10th, 2025 meeting minutes? Can I have a motion to accept as corrected?
I make a motion to accept the
Minutes as corrected?
Read.
Okay.
Second.
Abraham,
yes.
Urick,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Alrighty. Then we have your financial reports. Payment listing is in front of you, or should be, and also the credit card report, and there's one in the green folder that will be signed by all of you. That one's just for you guys. Payments were pretty... We had the sandstone excavating for the OPWC 39 is the $30,000, and the 54 was the extra work that was done on Rustic Hill. Everything else is pretty boilerplate. Also, our year-to-date revenue is $1,734,3.
How much? 1,000,000?
$739,734.03. And our expenditures are $1,131,859.12. The end of my report.
Great, thanks, Chris. And that revenue, it's amazing how, even though things have changed over the years, the total's almost always the same. Just seems like the cards get shuffled. Okay, are there any questions on the financial reports at all, or the credit card listing? If not, I'm going to make a motion to approve the financial reports and the payments of items on the payment listing as specified in the documents provided by the fiscal officer.
I will second.
Lynch?
Yes.
Urick?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
The number on that, Chris?
Is 11/7/25.
And I'll also make a motion that the credit card account transaction detail has been reviewed per policy and the card statement is accepted as presented, subject to investigation.
Second.
Hold on, let me look at it.
All the receipts are provided, David.
All right.
Lynch?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Urick?
Yes.
Okay.
I just have still not heard back from the state auditor's office. I have no idea what is going on with them with the 2022-23 audit. I have reached out to all of the zoning boards regarding timesheets and the new policies put in place by the auditor of the state. So hopefully they will. Did anything come in, or are we still, so it looks like we're not having another meeting before the end of the year, so they've got till December 15th.
And for Dave and Denny, I believe you guys are aware, but maybe not. When Chris talks about the new policy based on the order of state, that's just that the chair of the respective board signs off on the timesheets that are turned in by the individual members prior to providing it to Chris. And there is...
And lastly, I just wanted to mention that I did hear back from the county auditor regarding levy calculations. They should be back to us no later than tomorrow.
Yes, good.
And any other item I had will be covered under your correspondence.
Okay, yeah, and there's one other item in your packet. I had asked Chris on the change that the county commissioners did actually in October, where they doubled the homestead exemption and the 2.5% owner-occupied credit, what the actual impact would be, and if that was considered when the Tax Budget Commission provided us the estimate that we had, I think, 2 meetings ago. And we're not really sure if they took that into consideration, but for Amherst Township, the best estimate they have right now, based on who currently has receives the owner-occupied credit or the homestead exemption, will be $34,690 and change. So from what I see, based on what we were originally provided, I don't think that was included, but we're not really sure. So we'll end up getting information from the auditor before hopefully we have it even before the temporary budget's passed, but we'll definitely have it before the permanent budget is passed next year in 2026 prior to the end of March. But you do have a copy of the original resolution from the Board of Commissioners, and it's not only Amherst Township, it shows every political entity that receives property tax in addition to the schools and the county themselves. Overall, from the county, that reduction, the impact was at $17,433,597. And I know some of the schools have expressed concerns on that, but we've got to keep in mind that's not actually a reduction where they're getting less than they did in previous years. They're getting less than what they're receiving additional money because of the property tax reappraisal. And for the township, the only increased amount was due to new construction or our inside millage, and we have approximately 3 mills out of the 10 that are available in each tax district that's there, whereas the schools, though they have a good portion of that inside millage, they also, many of them hit, I believe all 14 school districts in Lorraine County hit the 20 mil floor, which is kind of like a guaranteed minimum, if you will. But that's just information for you to look at. We don't have anyone from the general public. You will see Trustee-elect Jeremy Watson is here, and we're going to have Jeremy later involved in an executive session because there are some items here that are going to impact the term when Jeremy is up here making decisions, so it's best that he gets indoctrinated into some of that information early on, and he'll be meeting here with the Assistant County Prosecutor Barbara Tama soon. But we also have another individual here. If you recall, 2 meetings ago, the Township Architect, Tom Bodie, had turned in his resignation. So David, you want to bring people up to date on the search you did for a replacement architect for Tom?
I did run into and I have a conversation with the former township architect, Mark Lesnar, and he indicated at the time that he would be willing to come back and help us out. And I was elated and delighted that he did consider coming back, and spoke with him some more, and he was gracious enough to come down tonight. So I have put together a resolution with the help of Linda, and that would appoint him as the township architect, and he can help us out through these times with all these projects coming down the pipe, such as the foundations, nursing home, and the McDonald's, and the other projects that come down. So I'm very much delighted that he would help out, that he would ask. So I do have a motion prepared, and I would bring it forward at this time. I would make this motion that we appoint Mark Lesnar of Mark Lesnar Architects, 45180 Middle Ridge Road, Amherst, Ohio, shall be appointed as Amherst Township Architect for site plan and design review services specified in the Amherst Township Zoning Resolution, Article 2200, that Mr. Lesnar shall make recommendations to the Zoning Commission on whether or not a proposed application complies with the applicable design review criteria for commercial, industrial, multifamily, and single-family dwelling units. Mr. Lesnar shall submit invoices to the Amherst Township Fiscal Officer for payment of his architectural services at a current rate of $115 per hour. It is expected that Mr. Lesnar shall adjust his rate from time to time based upon market and economic conditions. Mr. Lesnar shall notify the Township Zoning Inspector of any possible conflicts of interest relative to a specific site or design plan review. If a conflict is determined to exist, the zoning inspector shall contact a local registered architect as a substitute for Mr. Lesnar for the specific site or design plan review case that presents such conflict. It is found and determined that all formal actions of the Township Trustees concerning and relating to the adoption of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting, and that all deliberations of the trustees and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including the Ohio Revised Code. So I so move this.
Okay, thanks, David. I'll second.
This is, what, 11-9?
Well, once we take roll call, it'll be 11-9, but, I appreciate that you're able to get Mark in. It's really nice, Mark, to see you back. That the benefit for the township is you already know the zoning code here, and then you see zoning code in other adjoining municipalities and can sometimes offer guidance. This will take the burden off the zoning commission making the decision, so we do appreciate you having you back. And Tom was very nice to work with, too, and very thorough, so it's just unfortunate with circumstances. He had to step back from the added work, but I don't know if there are any other discussion. Bring on roll call, Chris.
Euring?
Yes.
Lynch?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome
you, Mark.
aboard.
And,
Again.
You've already had conversation with Ryan. He can bring you up to speed on, the projects that are coming down the pipe, and we'll get you the needed information on those, the site plans, so that you can start your review and then keep track of the your hours and whatnot. And I believe Chris requests that they be invoiced monthly.
That's my request.
Hmm?
My request,
By request.
yeah. And I talked to Mark about it already.
Daniel Lane, Linda. I'm kidding. That's a private joke. And she didn't hear me.
Well, thank you. And Mark, you're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to leave because we are going to have an executive session with the Assistant Prosecutor Barbara Tamas.
Thank you for the vote.
Welcome back.
It's very much appreciated, Mark.
Okay, and I just mentioned too, we do have Assistant Prosecutor Barbara Tamas here for an executive session. So I'm going to make a motion that we enter into executive session per Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22 G3 concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action regarding the purchase agreement for a plow/dump truck, and also per 121.22 G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public employees.
Second,
Lynch?
Yes.
Euring?
yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we return from executive session to the regular meeting at 8:57 p.m.
Second,
Euring? I'm sorry, Lynch?
Yes.
Euring?
yes.
And Abraham?
Yes.
Okay, moving on, just, again, it's just as a placeholder reminder here, we have to comply with the deadline for cybersecurity program by July 1st of 2026. Want to open it up for discussion on the 2025 end-of-year meeting and 2026 organizational meeting. You'll see that I'm proposing that our end-of-year meeting be on Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, and the 2026 organizational meeting, January 13th, 2026. Any objections to that? Those both
Well,
be
Jeremy's
Tuesdays?
gonna be, not gonna be available for the 13th. Correct. Oh, I would propose an organizational meeting, if possible, of January 5th, Monday. I trust you'd be available that week, right? Okay.
Chris, are you available, you said Monday the 5th?
Yeah.
What time?
If it's Monday the 5th, I would say 7 PM.
Chris, does that work for you?
Right now it does. It depends on how year end goes, if I'm still going to have to work on that. I'm hoping to be done on the 3rd. David can take the minutes if not. There you go.
In the words of John Koval, you only have to keep track of the motions.
I only have to be.
All right, well then let's set, then the organizational meeting will be on Monday, January 5th
Okay.
for 2026
Also at 7 p.m.
at 7 o'clock, yes. And the end of year then will be on Tuesday, December 23rd at 7 o'clock.
Right?
In the evening, yes. You have too many of those 7:30 a.m. morning meetings. Okay, and then I have down here a reminder, and you have a copy in your packet, that the Lorraine County Township Association, their next meeting is on Thursday, December 18th. They actually, at that meeting, it will be minimum amount of business conducted. That's going to be a Christmas banquet dinner, so there will be a cost to it. You've got a copy of the form for registration and reservation in your packet. It's $25 per person. So if you fill those out, get those sent in with payment, so we can confirm up with the caterer, since this will be catered versus just sandwiches that a township provides. We can get the numbers firmed up, and then the request is that it will be at 6:15 p.m. beginning at New Russia Township at the hall, or large, I don't know what they call their big
Lodge.
center, the lodge. And then, as in the past, they're requesting that each township provide a door prize up to $50. I just want to make sure that's okay, because we did start actually providing that out of the township funds versus in the past, I would just buy something. But if there's no complaints, we'll do that.
One question, Jeremy, did you?
I'll be there.
You'll be there? Okay. We have reservation form for the banquet, if you want to go to the banquet part. I don't know, have you filled out one of those yet?
He's got a copy,
Oh, he's got a copy, that's all he needs.
He's got
That's all he
a
needs. Okay.
packet.
That's all I need to know.
and he knows that
Yeah.
the swearing in
sworn
by
in.
Prosecutor Silla will be at that, so you'll get a certificate. Chris probably just needs a copy, she doesn't need the original, you can keep the original. Okay, but they'll provide that at the dinner. It'll be you and a whole bunch of other elected officials, so. If you have someone to take photos, they'll take group photos. Sometimes somebody takes a photo and they'll email it to you, but, you might want to get one of your own while you're there.
I think there's, 18 townships, and there were 2 openings, there were 36 openings. So 36 people were either re-elected or elected, so I think they've got, what did they say, 9 new people?
Yeah, I'm not sure,
Something like
David, they
that.
had some others too, where there were people that either resigned or that were open in addition to those 2. So there could
But
be
at least-
addition, and if
at least
people
9.
can't make it, Judge Giovanna Bremke has agreed she can do it later, because obviously some people won't be able to make that night, or something happens, they get sick. Judge Bremke's agreed that she'll go ahead and take their oath for them, give them a certificate. Okay, we'll just move on to reports. For the Sandstone Joint Ambulance District, we finally do have a date. It's actually not going to be in November. It's going to be December 2nd at 11 o'clock a.m. at the Amherst Fire Station. That was the date that worked out for the majority of the board. Both David Freeman and I will be there representing the township. Unfortunately for Melissa Gilker, that date conflicted, but again, the decision was to go with the date that worked out for the majority of board members. So we'll still be well represented at that board meeting. Hopefully, Life Care has the data available for the number of runs that have occurred in the past quarter. The sheriff's not here. Zoning, Ryan?
Yeah, December 2nd, at the zoning commission meeting, we'll have 3 meetings, preliminary for Foundations Nursing Home, final for Circle K, and the public hearing on the zoning amendment from an R2 to an R3. I gave you guys the yearly report for permits. We're at a total of 137 permits, total collected $96,959.56, with the park fee of $11,500. That's all I have to report.
Ryan, what was the public hearing on?
The public hearing was the zoning amendment from an R2 to an R3.
You probably haven't been able to give any information to Mark Lesnar then on Foundation Health or it was Foundation Health and Circle K?
Yeah, so I passed along Circle K and Foundation's site plan to him before he left.
Okay, great. All right, there any other questions for Ryan? All right, I see no new homes yet. They're probably waiting to get things finished. They're selling them, they just haven't, they can't
Right.
construct yet.
Right.
All right, thanks, Ryan. All right, we'll move on. Roads, Parks, and Cemetery, Superintendent Smarsh.
We just been on leaves, catch basin cleaning, and potholes, and all regular maintenance. That's it.
Any questions for Kevin? All right, well then, go ahead and move on. I do have, and Morgan's got it up there on the screen, and you've got copies of the spreadsheet in your packet. If recall at previous meetings, the township's been working for some time as far as transferring the responsibility for Oberlin Road from the township to Lorraine County Engineer. And Lorraine County Engineer has agreed to that, but they also wanted the township to take over the winter maintenance for the Sandstone Parkway because of our equipment. They believe will be easier to get around the roundabouts or roundouts that we ask for as a traffic control device to keep traffic slow. And I would encourage you, if you haven't driven down there, try and drive down there and see how fast you really can go with those obstructions in the way. I've actually had some resident complaining about how difficult it is. They got to go slow in their big truck, and they keep acting like it's a problem. I'm saying then that static device is doing what it's intended to do, and that's to slow traffic. Because as many of you know, one of the biggest complaints we get down in Hidden Valley is speeders and traffic down the main drags, because they're nice straight shots, and expecting the sheriff to be down there all the time handing out tickets or controlling traffic is not reasonable. So here, we're able to do it with an inexpensive device, but because of that, the county believes with their types of trucks will be more difficult. So we're pulling a swap here. Well, we had provided at the previous meeting, if we take what it cost us to resurface Oberlin Road, which is approximately 3 miles in length, make sure it's in today's dollars, because we've actually, in the resurfacing, we had a section done in 2015, 2017, Then 2023, the reason there's that delay there is because we also had some new sewers coming in, and we knew the county was going to cut the road, and we didn't want to repave something that then they were going to destroy. But we took into account current inflation. To resurface Overland Road 1.5 mil, or 1.5 inches thick would be about $1 million. Typically, ODOT says a figured useful life at 12 years. We tend to extend that. So if we did this on a 15-year basis in today's dollars, you're talking just under, you'll see in the column that says resurfacing, about $62,000 a year is what the cost is. We had mentioned when I previously provided this that this didn't include berming, crack sealing, mowing, signage, all the other different types of costs we have. So Linda and Kevin did get together to go through what those costs are with reasonable estimates. I was surprised. I thought some of these would be higher than they are, but they're the best information that Kevin could provide right now, and then Linda just formalized everything on the spreadsheet. When you add, and you can see in each column for those different types of road maintenance items that are required, if you went to the next highest item is actually the snow plowing, which will be about $5,300 a year. Realize that's an average. The salt cost itself is just under $2,700. That will be going up, I've been told by the county when we see the new salt, because salt, I guess they're saying, is going way up, but haven't seen the number yet for the next contract year. So now if you add all those items up, it's actually just under, and it's highlighted in yellow there, total cost on an annual basis is about $126,000 a year just for Overland Road. So to me, this is a pretty good trade-off. But what the county has asked us to do, even though the Board of Commissioners has the authority to just take over that responsibility, believe it or not, they have the authority. They can give us any road they want without our input. I hope they don't do that. Without our input. And there's actually an opinion out there from the state attorney general, and it was township that argued because the county turned over some roads to them that they didn't want, they lost. If the county decides it's a township road, it's a township road. But what the county's asked us is because they don't want any blowback, if somebody disagrees and thinks the township that should do it, there's also an option for a petition process. And Bob Kleiber from the county engineer's office has given me the numbers in the section of the ORC. So I'm going to have to be knocking on some doors and get people to sign a petition to turn the road over to the county. And one of the biggest things I'm going to show them is that, by doing this, the township saving about $126,000 a year by getting this annualized. Now that's going to be offset a little bit because now Kevin and Russ are going to have to do the winter maintenance of Sandstone Parkway. But that trade-off for Sandstone Parkway, we're talking about just a little over 1.25 miles that they'll have to do for Sandstone Parkway, and it's a 2-lane road for most of the area other than where it goes on 58. Well, if you consider it's just winter maintenance, and it's only we're trading 3 miles to 1.25, well, let's look at the salt and the cost for Overland Road. We're talking there roughly a little over $8,000 in today's dollars. So if that's over 3 miles, you can do the ratio for 1.25 that's on there, but we're probably talking something about $3,000 to $4,000. So 126,000, 4,000, I'll go to the high. I think that's an easy decision to make. And that then leaves these funds for the township to use for other road maintenance work that we desperately need, particularly in some of the older subdivisions that are out here. And we also know that someday we're going to have to increase our road department. Because we know in the areas, particularly areas that are sewered, there are going to be additional roadways coming in. So Kevin's going to let us know when we get to that point that he and Russ can no longer handle it between the work they do. And obviously we have the option, Daryl gets down there to help them with the cul-de-sacs and whatnot in the winter, but I'm talking about when there's considerably additional number of road miles to take care of. I don't know if you guys have any questions. This is just for informational purposes, but I appreciate Linda and Kevin getting the rest of the story here. So when I'm talking to residents as to why are we making this change here going forward, again, it's just to try and manage our budget. As you've heard me say before, we either have to increase revenue or reduce cost. So this is an opportunity here to reduce our cost. Okay?
The only comment I would have on your spreadsheet, Neil, was you take into account the revenue decrease from the loss of road mileage.
There is no, where's the revenue decrease from the lack of road mileage?
From the loss of road mileage.
Where, what loss?
You get a certain amount of funding based on your miles of
From
road.
who?
I believe it's the state, I believe it's the gasoline tax. Based on your miles of road.
The real loss we had was the local government fund, and that got changed when the formula changed, when Lorraine challenged it before the Board of Tax Appeals. So no longer does that calculation come in here anymore. And we're going to actually have an increase in road mileage because we've got all of the Sandstone Parkway coming on. Fortunately, we'll have to see if they count private roads, because if you recall in the court settlement agreement, we negotiated that if it was going to be any rentals there, that they be private streets. And so that's all in those residents within, in this case, the Redwood section of development. They're covering all that cost.
Okay, Neil. You don't know.
Yeah.
All right, that was my
Well,
question, that's my
I'll tell you what,
comment.
I can get it, but I would suggest you go and get it, David, to actually get it in terms of dollars. But I can assure you, we aren't getting gas tax there of that amount of money. So we're definitely not going to get a loss here of $126,000 in gas tax. That's just not even in the order of magnitude. And I understand, I don't understand why you do not want a change in responsibility of Overland Road. I still don't understand that. But, it's to me, this makes sense. Okay?
Okay, I understand, Neil. That was my comment on your spreadsheet, that was
Okay.
it. All right.
Are you interested in getting that information?
Well, if I can,
Okay.
file something,
Okay.
file something.
And you'll share that with the
Send it,
board then?
yeah, to Rob Clyburn, right?
Well,
His email, Rob's email,
yeah.
Clyburn.
All right? Okay, Senior Services Township Administrator Linda Ashley.
We're just working on trying to start up our 2026 workbooks and working on the preliminary site plan review costs, the BZA variance hearing cost to maybe up those for next year. I just want to remind people that it is Medicare open enrollment and it ends on December 7th, so you have just a little bit over a week. I would strongly encourage, if you're on any medications and you have a Part D plan, that you compare them. Not only, I used it as an example before, not only did Greg's go up $40 a month, they also dropped one of his heart medications, and now his medicines alone were going to cost $12,000 for the year. So if you don't compare, in January you're going to get a shock. So if you're on any formulary drugs, name brand drugs like heart drugs, insulin, any of that stuff, you might want to make sure that you do a comparison. I don't have to do it. Any drugstore does it, the pharmacy. They'll do comparisons for you, but I strongly encourage anybody on Medicare Part D to have their plan looked at. That's all I got.
All right, thanks, Linda. Okay, I guess as far as the Lorco report, it's the biggest item is people we had at the last Lorco meeting were we're obviously getting new customers in the Phase 1 business, or the Phase 1 district, which is Eaton and Carlisle Township. We also are having a significant increase in the rates from the customers that are served by wastewater treatment in Grafton, the village of Grafton. We did have some people show up at the Lorco meeting, and it seems like they're going out to every meeting, just as we had some at the last zoning commission meeting. Somehow they're tying this into the mega site going on in New Russia Township, and we had one of the attorneys that are there that I don't know if he sees money in it or what his logic is. We tried to explain to him this has nothing to do with Lorco. Where they think it does is that both Lorco, Avon Lake Regional Water, and Lorain County are looking at forming a 6119 overall, and that is to try and reduce the cost for particularly the Phase 1 customers, but come up with a better overall system. The county has an interest in doing that because obviously the city of Vermillion is under findings and orders with their wastewater treatment plant. So they need to do something. And I think where people have tied that together and saying, oh, Lorco's pushing this mega site, we have nothing to do with it, is that they're saying, oh, if those sewers come in, that's what's allowing this to happen. That whole issue on the zoning amendment in New Russia Township is no different than Ryan mentioned. Our zoning commission is going to be dealing with a zoning amendment coming up from an R1 to an R3. It's the same thing in New Russia Township, talking about changing this to I believe they use a zoning district of industrial park. So they've got a property owner that's requested this. I don't know the details. I expect they're going to turn it down. I know that 2 of the 3 trustees that just were up for election said they weren't in support. Well, we already know, regardless of what the zoning commission decides, even if they support it, the trustees can turn it down. And I would think if you ran on a platform that you were opposed, you're going to vote no. So it seems like people are getting all upset about this and somehow tied it to Lorco, then they came to our township. Because if it did happen, and if there was some development there, because there's nothing there right now, yes, that will impact our township. So that's where I think we've got to keep an eye on that. But it's not something that Lorco has anything to do with, nor do we. It also, the same individual showed up at the last Lorain County Township Association meeting last Thursday. And though the Farm Bureau's taken a position, one of our members thought that the association needed to take a position. And at first it was dead silence when they asked any other comment. I finally thought, I can't let this go. So I stuck my neck out, and trust me, there are some people who were upset with it because the group that showed up were all anti. I said, the association should not be taking a position, is my opinion. And I'm not going to support that, just like I believe in local control, and I don't want the association taking a position on what happens in Amherst Township. And even if someone took a position, it really has no weight. The decision is your zoning commission and your board of trustees. Your board of trustees can now, this was a change since I've been a trustee, 2 out of 3 trustees can overrule the zoning commission. So ultimately, if they ran on a position, they don't support it, I don't see how they can vote anything but no and vote against it. And we know the process is, as we've been through that, the next step would be up to those property owners requesting this change is go to common pleas court. And who knows what's going to happen after that. But, do they decide to do that? Heck, I don't. I have no idea. I don't know these people. But I'm not going to take a position on what some other property owner wants to do with their property in a township that isn't Amherst Township. If it's Amherst Township, that's a different story. So, and this is really on the Lorco report, but I can tell you this group is going to all these different meetings. And I don't know if they really understand how the process works. If they want to go to any meeting, they need to show up to the zoning commission public hearing on that zoning amendment. And then once a decision is made there, they need to go to the public hearing that the Board of Trustees will have to hold. And that's it. I mean, that's the process. But, you know, I can understand where people may not understand the process, but since they do have some attorneys involved, you would think they would explain it that simply to them. But it just seems like this is getting a lot of play in the media, and yet I think the local elected officials are going to say no. So we'll see where it goes. I know that there's all sorts of communication. It's a data center. I have not heard that from anybody that's in the know any place, and I haven't heard any official that would support a data center. Because data centers take up a lot of room and provide very few jobs. And so again, I don't know why that's even being discussed. But that's, as far as Lorco, those were the main things at Lorco. I think our meeting got taken over by people from the general public that tried to turn it into an anti-mega site, and they're trying to paint that Lorco is somehow involved in this. We are not at all. Just like our zoning commission has no say in what happens to any zoning amendment in Russia Township, so to come to the zoning commission isn't appropriate either. I don't know that we won't see somebody here eventually, but we do have to keep an eye on it if there's any development out there. But this is something that if there is, it would be so long-term. You know how long it would take before the infrastructure would be in place, and you're talking about both the sewers, the water, the electric, the roadways. I mean, this is not something that would happen overnight anyway. And don't even know if it'd be in our lifetime. But just so people understand what's being discussed there. I don't know if you guys have any questions on Lorco.
No, I don't, I do not have any questions on Lorco.
The only question I ever have on Lorco at this point is, how is phase one going? How many users are now in there? You know, back years ago, there was high on cost, low on users, and it was just being patient to wait to get the users, and I wondered how many users were in there now.
Yeah, I should
Are
have
you up
brought
to
that
2,000?
information, David. I
Is that up to
didn't bring it.
2,000 or?
I believe it is, and it might be over. It's actually, you will see, particularly in Eaton Township is where most of the growth is going. And Eaton Township, what they did, because they obviously were fighting annexation from the local municipality, they had a big target on their back. And so the
Right, no
sewers
area.
have helped them. What they did is they went through and adjusted their comprehensive plan, and then they matched their zoning resolution to their comprehensive plan. I call it a fence. They basically built a nice fort fence, if you will, around their borders that allows higher density where they had the sewers so that they could avoid the annexation that was going on and fighting that. There is still, though it hasn't been finally decided, I suspect, I think it's called Fiddler's Green, is where there was an annexation filed for that particular area. I think that's going to be worked out, that's going to go to Lorco, and the annexation would become mute. And I know Jason Monsheen, one of the trustees in Eaton Township, has been very vocal to fight that annexation, which the developer was trying to do at the time that they thought was a lower cost, and Lorco has supported them that they can definitely accept the flow. The flow, it was originally designed to take the flow from that area. So I think they're going to avoid that annexation, and I think eventually the developer is going to agree to allow that to go to Lorco, and so will the Village of Grafton. But that still needs to be worked out with the flow agreement with the Village of Grafton. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And phase two, as far as stormwater management, we did have the Stormwater Advisory Committee met last Thursday, and the county is going to provide the same amount of funding as in previous years, which I believe was about $435,000 from the Stormwater District. They do have some carryover from the previous year, so total for community projects will be about $600,000, and the grants are going to be due in January. Our only grant will probably be for Quarry Creek, but that's one, I'm not even sure if that's something we would apply for or the county would apply for. And I will have that discussion with Don Romanchak, because any type of grant we've gone through before was where we had the flooding over the roads in addition to the making the septic systems ineffective and affecting some of the agricultural areas that we had. And our main thing was the roads, but it just so happened, it happened to be in areas where we had no sewers and also had some ag land. This particular one, we're not having a road issue, as the residents came to us, and they've come to us in past years with the flooding of their properties and ineffective on-lot septic systems. So I will check on that. We'll be going out for more mini grants though, because the mini grants will also be available. And for the most part, Kevin's been trying to use that as leverage in some of the road projects. Are any other questions in on stormwater?
No, sir.
Okay. I think for the lateness of the hour here, I'm just gonna, for the items that are assigned specific trustee responsibility, you have anything else to bring forward?
No, sir.
I have nothing at this time, Neil. For the sake of the hour, anything under solid waste, I can defer to the next meeting.
Okay. All right, then our next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, December 9th. Kevin stepped out, but I'm sure he doesn't want a work session.
Well, what could we appoint him to?
Yeah. And we decided then the 2025 end of year meeting will be at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, December 23rd. And the 2026 organizational meeting will be on Monday, January 5th of 2026.
At 7, both meetings at 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m.
All right.
And I don't know if anyone has any other comment or anything to bring before the board? Other business?
Nothing at this time.
All right, then can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Euring,
Yes.
Abraham,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.